Since the announcement of the Switch 2, there has been a ton of ill regards toward the implementation of game key cards as an option for third-party developers to release games on Nintendo's newest hardware without the rumored 64GB restrictions on the Nintendo Switch cartridge. To explain how the game key card works is pretty simple. You buy the game key card, put it in your Switch 2, and connect to the internet. Once connected to the internet, you'll be able to download the game from the Nintendo eShop, and then the card will work just like a regular game for the system, and will not require the internet again to reopen it. Process complete. Now, there is a growing fear and resentment towards this method of game release. There's a growing fear that these game key cards will be rendered useless when the eShop servers close, or that we are not really owning the games we are buying from these developers that are choosing to release their games in this format. One of the loudest resentments is the effect on game preservation that these game key cards will have. These are all legitimate fears and concerns that I definitely see the reasoning for, especially at the price tags of $70 to $80 games. On the opposite end of things, I have seen gamers who are more open to this idea opposed to Nintendo's infamous code in a box, seen on Switch 1 games like Just Dance. There is a physical card in the box. However, as I mentioned before, it requires an internet connection to, quote, unlock the game. Personally, I have not purchased a game key card yet for my Switch 2, and part of me is leery because deep in my mind, I feel that nagging fear that is being presented. However, I am willing to bet on Nintendo having a contingency plan in place for when they move to the Switch 3 or Game Sphere or whatever is in the pipe. No Mario puns intended. Now, I only say this in my opinion, as Nintendo has proven in the past that they are able to allow their customers to keep access to their games that they have bought. For example, you are still able to access your purchased games from Wii, Wii U, and even the 3DS, give or take a few titles. I know there are many out there who are going to stand fast to only buying games on cart, and even companies like Limited Run Games who are vowing to release on-cart games. However, the question remains is, how long will that resistance hold out? Is there going to be that game that makes the gaming community flip their opinion on game key cards? That remains to be seen. As it shows right now, the sales for third-party titles on Switch 2 have been less than stellar. At the time of this recording, Cyberpunk is the only title currently selling well on Switch 2. Perhaps time will only tell how game key cards will fare on the market. As always, thank you for watching, and if you like what you hear and see, feel free to give us a follow so you can catch more content about movies, video games, and other nerdy stuff here on Nerd Realm. We also have the Nerd Realm podcast that's available on most major podcast platforms such as Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and even iHeartRadio. So go find us on your favorite platform. Also, we always have a link in the description where you can find it on Spotify. So until next time, take care, and we'll see you on the next one.